Good morning. Let us pray. Men, please remove their couch. Dear God, our Creator and Sustainer, we enter into your presence with gratitude and thanksgiving for your continuous help as we navigate through these troubled times. Continue to give us the strength to endure the situations and to find the blessings and lessons that this season carry. Guide our thoughts, our words and actions, so that we may continue to walk in the path of peace and love. Pick us up, O Lord, and hold us in your loving arms. Protect us from caving in to the pressures of the day, and remove any heaviness from our hearts that hinder us from giving our best. Inspire us with the knowledge that you and I together can do all things. Lord, help us to be prepared but not anxious. Help us to be aware but not desperate. Help us to be vigilant but not in fear. Help us to be joyful but not clueless. Help us to be faithful but not careless. Come now and be with us during this hour. We invoke your presence here with us today. Let everything that we say and do be pleasing in your sight. Forgive us if we have done things that were contrary to your will and your way. Help us, strengthen us, and most of all, forgive us. Guide us now, dear God, as we render service to humanity. As we go through this day with you, may your grace, your mercy, and protection dwell with us during this day. May we come to the end of the day with no regrets. Touch our hearts, touch our spirits, renew in us the right spirit. And we'll be careful always to give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. As we come now to the close of this prayer, we ask your continued blessings on our institution. Bless the leadership, the administration, the faculty, staff, and students. We thank you for those students who have met the challenge, even during these troubled times, to continue to do their best to seek excellence, even in the midst of troubled times. We thank you. We know that we could not have done it without you. So we come with gratitude in our hearts and in our minds and our spirit. May we come, oh God, to the close of this day with no regrets in our hearts, our minds, and our spirits. It is in Jesus the Christ's name that I pray and give thanks. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Geraldine Agee, and I serve as the Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs. And this is certainly a beautiful morning to see all of the beautiful faces. We're so very proud of all of the students that are assembled here today. I will be presiding over this as an MC of sorts, keeping things moving. Just want to say a little bit of housekeeping. We, everyone that is watching on live, thank you to all the parents and family members that are here to support, the faculty and staff that are here to support these students virtually. In this audience, we're following the CDC social distancing guidelines with the way that we're seated, and we have on our masks, and we're being safe as we celebrate. So I just wanted to mention that. We do have a program, and for the parents and family members, faculty and staff that are watching remotely, we will be posting that on our website so that you will be able to have a commemorative document for years to come, as well as each of the students who are not represented here today in person will receive both the program and their awards mailed to them so that they would also be honored for the amazing work that they have done. The Honors Convocation program recognizes students who have consistently made a cumulative GPA each academic year. They are recognized at this, our special honors program, held typically during the fall of each year, but we were having it in the spring due to COVID. This program represents the prior academic achievement year. So for many students, they got high GPAs during the fall semester, especially freshmen. You will have something to look forward to as we recognize the previous year. So this is actually fall 2019, spring 20, summer 2020 students who have maintained a high GPA over those semesters consistently. The students must have been enrolled full-time, both fall and spring semesters, and met the criteria with no incompletes or unsatisfactory grades at the end of the grade reporting period. We're going to recognize our honor scholars who received a 3.0 to a 3.49 GPA. We're going to recognize our dean scholars who have a cumulative GPA of a 3.50 to 3.79, and our presidential scholars who have a cumulative GPA of a 3.80 to a 4.0. When they come forward, they will be given one of each one of these cords, and the cords correspond to the different honors that they will be receiving. And that is also printed in the program. So as the program states, we are going to be having, we've had a musical selection. Thank you so much to that for the choir. And we're going to proceed with our guest speaker. But before I do that, I want to recognize our President Bobby Knight, as well as her cabinet who is here in the audience with us today. So could you please give them a round of applause for being here tonight. This program also recognizes the work of not just the students that are here today, but also your chairs, your honors director, and your faculty members who are cheering you on from all of the places that we are virtually to be in support of you today. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker for today. I think that we're in for a treat. Our keynote speaker for today is Dr. Rolundus R. Rice. He is a thought leader, orator, professor, and university administrator. Dr. Rice has used these platforms to inspire thousands of students to earn their high school diplomas, baccalaureate, and advanced degrees by sharing his firsthand experience as a troubled youth. Rice's pilgrimage to purpose narrative chronicles his life from a GED to a PhD. Dr. Rice graduated from DeVry University with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. He graduated magna cum laude. He holds 2 advanced degrees. He's earned a Master's of Arts in History from Alabama State University and the Doctor of Philosophy and History from Auburn University. He's the first GED recipient to earn a PhD in Auburn's 163-year history. Dr. Rice was lured into university leadership at a very young age. At only 33, he was appointed Dean of Humanities and Fine Arts at Talladega College in Talladega, Alabama, one of the youngest academic deans at an accredited 4-year institution in the United States. The Dapper Dean, as he was affectionately referred to by students, was responsible for leading the reorganization of the history, English, music, mass media, and fine arts curriculum, respectively. He was also instrumental in securing a $1.25 million implementation grant from the UNCF for a Careers Pathways program to help increase Talladega College students' chances of finding meaningful employment upon graduation. Dr. Rice's subsequent work and experience at various institutions of higher education include Chief Diversity Officer, Assistant Provost for Academic Affairs and Dean of the School of Graduate Studies, and Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. He is currently working for the Alabama Community College System Office as the Central Region Director of Adult Education. Dr. Rice is a professionally trained historian who has taught a variety of lower and upper division undergraduate studies, including world history, United States history, the United States Civil Rights Movement, and American religious history, respectively. His research and publishing agenda is focused squarely on the modern civil rights agenda. Dr. Rice's book, Hosea Williams, Martin Luther King Jr.'s Bull in a China Shop, A Lifetime of Defiance of Protest Lieutenant, will be published by the University of South Carolina Press in October. Dr. Rice has spearheaded innovative efforts to recruit, retain, and graduate students from disadvantaged communities by marrying historical institutional missions with his Passport to Purpose and escalating expectations retention initiatives that he has skillfully infused with first and second year student experiences. As the president and chief executive officer of the Dapper Dean Education Empowerment Firm, Dr. Rice sees the world as a global classroom and grooming ground for greatness. Dr. Rice is married to the former Dana Lee. They have 4 children, Madison, Marley, Relentis II, and Remington. Please help me welcome our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Relentis R. Rice.
Let me thank you for such a wonderful introduction. I'll tell you, I was sitting down and the Reverend corrected me about wearing my hat in the facility. And sometimes it is good, well, it is always good to listen to those who know more than you. That is just a lesson of humility, so thank you, Reverend. So I won't hold you long. There are 3 types of people who hold you against your will. The police use the law. The preacher uses the Lord. And the professor uses the letter grade. But since I am in neither capacity today, I will be as brief as possible. Let me acknowledge President Bobby Knight for all of her magnificent work and accomplishments since assuming the presidency in the middle of a pandemic on a full-time basis. Yeah, I think her very steady hand at the helm of this ship is ensuring that miles will be docked into the safe harbor for many years to come. So thank you. Let me also acknowledge the provost, Dr. A.G., for asking me to serve as your speaker for today. I am truly honored by her invitation. I think that her broad vision and, as you all know, her boundless energy as the chief academic officer of this historic institution guarantees that Miles will remain the keyword grooming ground for many years to come for those future professors, physicians, preachers, and pillars of their respective communities. So thank you. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the beautiful music that poured forth from the Miles College Golden Voices under the leadership of Ms. Harris. And what a perfect post-Easter selection. As I listened, I was convinced that they believed that they heard of a man who defied the dictates of death, the laws of physiology and biology, and loosened the permanent grip of the grave and returned the borrowed tomb 2,000 years ago. So thank you. Now, I know that this is a CME church. We're affiliated with the CME church. But ain't the Lord all right? And finally, to our honorees who have exhibited in the classroom academic excellence, congratulations on your achievements. But I implore each of you to always remember that this accomplishment is not a period that ends the great sentence of scholarship and service, but it is a comma that continues it to a much loftier significance. But you too are should be receiving a round of applause. But our theme has been provided to us already in strengthening society and yourself through excellence. But before you can do that, before you can strengthen society, you first must strengthen yourself. Martin Luther King Jr. called society a world house, which means that everybody should be considered inhabitants of that world house. And know that you are in a position to fulfill your purpose or vocational calling. It is helpful to have a roadmap or a pathway to walk in your lifelong purpose. So I'm going to give you, Miles College, what has worked for me. And I'll call it my algorithm of achievement. And you all know an algorithm. It is a process of set rules that you use to calculate to solve a problem. And I'm sure everyone in this room will agree with me that there is a problem in America today. And it's not just Birmingham, it's not just Atlanta, but in the world. So how can you, Miles College, play a role in remedying those problems? And my algorithm consists of 4 essential variables. Number 1, everyone will have to receive CPR. Now, it is not in the traditional sense, and I'll go through that in a moment. Number 2, you must recognize that you were born with what one philosopher called a tabula rasa. And I'll explain that in a moment. But you must also know the distinct and distinguishable differences between good and great. And I will too expound upon that. But while on your path to strengthening yourself and society through excellence, you will have to endure what I refer to here as CPR. But that is not in the traditional sense. And I know that many of you are thinking about CPR, the acronym for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. But I am changing that to what I identify as career and purpose revival. First responders and other medical professionals all agree that without much deviation, this life-preserving procedure has pulled many people back from the threshold of death because of this technique. So we know that CPR can prevent sudden death in patients due to cardiac arrest by performing violent and intense chest compressions. And as a result, you may have broken ribs or a fractured sternum. And we all know that the ribs protect the heart from external shock and trauma. But the patient, although he or she may have broken ribs, although he or she may have a bruised sternum, they lived. They lived. So the lesson in that is very simple. To accomplish your purpose, your spirit sometimes, your will may be broken. In order to defibrillate or restart the beating heart of your purpose. What you all may or may not understand as undergraduates is that the long and meandering road that leads to your life calling is filled with obstacles that make you want to quit. Obstacles create pain, emotional and physical. But you can only appreciate being at the top of the mountain when you have walked through the coldest and lowest and darkest valley. Purpose, revival. You must be true to your vision, Miles College students. And I like fashionable glasses. I prefer wearing either Ray-Ban or the Carrera brand because my wife likes those. But I tell you that my eyesight is so poor that when I was younger, the doctor said, well, ma'am, your son needs to sleep with his eyeglasses because his vision is just that bad. But vision, everybody, literally and figuratively is essential. It is indivisible from your purpose in life. I was doing some work at the Alabama Institute for the Deaf and the Blind in Talladega last fall. And I had a memorable conversation with the counselor. And this counselor says, well, Rice, I think that every problem that a student has is my problem. And that resonated with me because a lot of folks don't always feel that way. But this counselor was blind. And he took great pains in solving everybody's issues. But it was his profound parting statement to me that I will always remember. He said, Dr. Rice, I might not have sight, but I have vision. And anytime I think about what little issue I may be going through, I think about even though he couldn't see it, even though he didn't know what was around the corner, isn't it? It's a lesson of faith, Reverend. But he believed and saw something that was maybe years or months down the line. But vision is so important. And you can never be blinded by the fog of disappointment. There will be many goals and objectives that you strive for. You may come up short. And I have 4 children, as the biography mentioned: Madison, Marley, Columbus II, and Remington. And the oldest 2, they deal with disappointments from time to time. And they always ask me, well, Daddy, how did you do X, Y, and Z? How did you go from point A to point B? And my lesson is always the same. It's a very cluttered path to success. But the only place where success comes before work is the dictionary. But vision is so important. And I know that sometimes we've driven on a familiar street, unable to see what's in front of you. But you continue driving because you had to reach your destination. You kept driving because you knew where you were going. I'm reminded of another situation of my daughter, Madison. We were living in Missouri at the time, and it's cold in Jeff City in January. I was getting dressed for work, and I could not locate my glasses. And again, I can hardly see, so I need my glasses. So Madison was sitting in the living room trying to watch TV. And as she was sitting down with my glasses, she realized that she couldn't really see what was portrayed on the TV screen. She said, Daddy, everything looks so blurred to me. And I had to remind my sweet Madison that that prescription was not written for her eyes. So she is not supposed to see the clarity of sight because it's my set of eyeglasses. So everyone, including your parents, your siblings, and friends, cannot always see what you see. So you can't build your vision around somebody else's sight. Can I get an amen? You must have focus. You must have sight. You must have vision. And if you want to strengthen yourself and the society in which you inhabit, if not, you will forever be trying to see the world with an eyeglass prescription that belongs to somebody else. Third topic, strengthening yourself also requires each of us to learn and have respect and reverence for those who taught you. The Reverend just taught me something 5 minutes ago. And I'm reminded of a situation at a barbershop. I'm going off script now, but something is telling me to tell you this. It was my 2nd semester in graduate school. And I had been reading some of the great philosophers and historians and scholars of the day. And this man walks in. He clearly had been consuming a beverage that I cannot consume in front of my grandmother. So he was meandering in his conversation. And he said, oh, young man, you quote this and you quote that. It sounds good, but do you have common sense? He said, young man, you know, if you had a son, I said, I don't have any kids. I haven't had any children then. He said, if you are in a car accident, I said, you're so smart, and you and your son are bleeding out, what do you do? And I said, oh, that's easy. I'll run straight to my baby boy, I'll protect him, and I'll stop him from bleeding. He said, you fool. And I said, oh. And I'm still very respectful because that's how I was raised. He says, if you bleed out, both of you die on the side of the road. So what you must do is take care of yourself first, and then you take care of your son. And as trite as that little example is, it reminded me that no matter who you are, where you're from, somebody somewhere taught you something. And for me, it was a lesson in humility. Never ever shun someone because they don't use a 5-syllable word, or that they did not attend one of the finer institutions, or have the letters behind their name, because someone has taught them something that they too can transmit to you. A lesson in humility. But as I think about what John Locke called the tabula rasa, and Locke said that that is simply a blank slate. So all of us enter this world with a blank slate. None of us came out of our mother's womb with a brain filled with knowledge. You were not quoting Langston Hughes, despite the fact that you like English. You were not calculating the Pythagorean theorem, despite the fact that you like math. Your parents who are listening to this, your teachers from elementary school, your professors here, they poured into you the knowledge and understanding that you too can pour into others. One organization said, lift as you climb. All of us in this room must always remember to lift as we climb. And I'm sharing this with you because you are climbing the intellectual ladder. One day, you will have the job that you seek, or have your own business that will allow you to be a pivotal pillar in your society. Yes, you may be able to purchase the biggest car, and I'll have a lesson about that after the conversation if you want. You may be able to purchase a house in the most affluent zip code. And that's okay. Nothing is wrong with the material manifestations of hard work. But what you shall not do, as a graduate of Miles College or any other HBCU, is forget where you come from. Something that's simple that everybody can teach you something. Information is so powerful. Every Tuesday and Thursday, the garbage collectors come by the house and retrieve our trash. I'm sure like in your houses as well back at home. And if you know that your whole life is in the garbage can, your dietary habits, the deodorant that you like to wear, the hygiene items that you prefer to use, those items that go into your hair. So that garbage collector, as low as some may think that that person is on the ladder of social mobility, he knows everything about you. So another lesson, no matter who you come across, you can always learn something from them. But finally, I'll talk about this point. I like music, and I know you all just sang Total Praise a moment ago, so I won't go into this song by singing it because of the dignity of the occasion. But I want us to always remember the difference between good versus great. And one of the biggest mistakes that I can make, or you can make, is settling for something because it is good when it has the potential to be great. Now, there are few examples that demonstrate this point better than Motown and Gladys Knight, Smokey Robinson. Oh, you all know who I'm talking about. Norman Whitfield, and the inimitable genius Marvin Gaye. Now, I'm not going to sing what's going on. But let us think about the song I Heard It Through the Grapevine. You all heard about the grapevine. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles recorded that song in 1966. But it wasn't even worthy of release, according to folks at Motown. So a year later, Gladys Knight and the Pips sang it and released it. It was #1 on the Billboard chart for 4 weeks. But then that song was re-released by Marvin Gaye with the production talents of Norman Woodville. I see people shaking their heads. They remember the time. It was #1 on the Billboard R&B chart. It catapults Marvin Gaye to stardom. And it was the biggest song in Motown history for a time. That song was also sang by a man named Roger Troutman. It was the only song in R&B history that was a #1 for 3 different artists. They took something that was good and made it great. So sometimes we think that earning a B+ in chemistry is good enough. Sometimes we think that earning a B in English is good enough. But when you are competing in a hostile world who is against you because of the texture of your hair or the hue of your skin, then you have to sometimes be better. Sometimes you have to study a little bit longer. Sometimes you have to read a few more books to get ahead of the competition. But that is all in what is good and the beauty of being who we are. Yeah, it's painful at times. But for you to get to where you want to get to, you got to transform I heard through the grapevine moment. How to elevate and escalate what you do. But as I close, I encourage each of you to remain steadfast in your convictions. Don't ever allow elements of society to dictate the parameters of your beauty and your brilliance. Because if you do, you will always try to appease everybody who comes before you. You will never find your way trying to appease everyone else. I think about Aretha Franklin. Didn't read music, but could play any song she heard. I think about Beethoven, who composed his best music while he was going blind. I think about Helen Keller, who was both deaf and blind. In other words, God makes provisions for the vision. You know about it when the tuition bill couldn't be paid. You made a phone call to mom and mama called the church. You all know about the story. The church did a fish fry for you just to have enough to go to class. I think about my own grandmother. I had a 1979 Cadillac. Driving back and forth to school, I didn't work. My grandmother would roll pennies for me to put gas in a 20-gallon gas tank. All of us have had someone to pour into us. Oh, when I think about the Bible, I think about the children in the Exodus. The scripture tells us that when the travelers were going through the day, God gave them a cloud above them to protect them. Yeah. He gave them food to eat. So whatever he has for you in your calling, God will always make a way. Now, I know this is not a church service, but like you, I do know of the carpenter from Galilee and how I got here. Yeah. And every single one of us, from the moment you were conceived to the moment you came out of your mother's womb, God had a plan for you. And thank God for Miles College. Thank God for President Knight. Thank God for Dr. Agee and the President's Cabinet. Why? Because they are here ensuring that you reach your ultimate potential. Thank you, Miles College.
So much, Dr. Rice, for that wonderful, inspirational speech. And I love how you made several points for these students that have been through so much, but still excel. They've gone from good to great in the work that they're doing. Now we are going to move to the part of our program where we will be courting our scholars in accordance with their honors. And so if I can get everyone assembled that needs to be part of this process. So we're going to have Mr. Don Mosley will be assisting the president with the courting on the stage. We have the lovely Miss Emma Sloan, who is also assisting here, and she provided snacks for all the scholars, so give her a round of applause for the apple juice and snacks. And then we have Miss Carly Underwood, who is also assisting, and Kathy Fleming, who is here, Dr. Felicia Cunningham, and Miss Brooke Hill, who are here assisting us as well. Okay, so if we could have the students, we have someone that's gonna lead the students for us. Okay, I'll call. Thank you. So the presidential scholars have earned a 3.80 to a 4.0 GPA over the past year, and they are being honored with a gold cord that will be bestowed on them by President Bobby Knight. So if you come forward and ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jaron Ross, Carlisha Harris, India Danae Savoy, Jaden Reeves, Cameron Alexandria Lee, Jakaria Miller, Alexis Mache Dawson, Remus McNeely, Amaya Bryant, congratulations, Kambi Azuba Jackson, Charlisa Wellington, Jasmine Thompson. We will continue to recognize our presidential scholars. This is Mr. Robert Edward Agee III, Alexandria Nicholson, Jasmine Bledsaw, Erica Woods, Shankita Rogers, Lakeaton Pearson, Dantaria Blackman, Miracle Pearl Wilson, Philip Mitchell, thank you. Now we will recognize our Dean Scholars who will come forward and they will be recognized with purple cords. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the Dean Scholar, Naya Williams. Next we have Ms. Kantanya Scott. Woo! Congratulations, Alexis Merrill. Our next Dean Scholar is Erica Freeman. Look at all your cords. And if you see someone that has several cords on, like Ms. Chandrell Gibson, it means that this is several years of her academic achievement. So the more cords they have, the more time they've had at this level. Chandrell Gibson. Ms. LaShakeem Dudley. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Keitha Mentor. Mary Myhan, congratulations. So good to see you. Jayla Cole. Adriana Ruffin. Dominique Wynn. Tony Amanda Madison. I'm now calling the honors scholars. I think I just had some honor scholars mixed in, but the honor scholars, did I do that right? Excuse me, you guys, for a second. We're still in what? Thank you. Want to get it right. Okay. Thank you. So I did Cameron Sneed. Thank you. Journey Cummings. Tatiana Thomas. So much. Bayon Thomas McKenzie. It's good to see you. Kiara Dunlap, pardon me. Kayla Lynch. Essence Hodge. Congratulations. Maya Elise Northand. Congratulations. Shatisa Harris. Look at this. We did it. Allison Sims. I said I would put a little shine on your name, Allison. Did I do it right? Okay, that's right. Cayenne Bolton. It's good to see you. Congratulations. Oh my God, it's so good to see you. Zykeria Falls. Yeah. It's so good to see him in person. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, Vernetta Hensley. Warwinski Williams. Congratulations. Megan Hatcher. Tadarius Wood. Justice Alexis. Tammy Jackson. Tammy Dunn. Taylor Jackson. And those were the Dean Scholars. Oh, okay, great. Dean Scholars. Somebody say my name. We are now excited to present to you our honor scholars who have earned a 3.20 to a 3.49 GPA, and they will be honored with a lavender cord for their accomplishments. Please come forward. So we're not only going to congratulate Denidra Hawkins, but her whole family that came to town. It's good to see y'all. Congratulations. Congratulations to Khalees Johnson. Natalie Jackson Taylor. Jakiria Strickland. Brianna Jones. Amaya Wright. Octavia Callaway Peters. So good to see you. Travana Smith. Destiny King. Daryl Odom. Jarrell Langford. Natasha Dancy. Justin Hurd. Cameron Holmes. Thank you. Next, we will have our scholars that are 3.0 to 3.199, and they will be honored with a light gold, what do we call these, cords. Ladies and gentlemen, Devin Walker. Faja McCurdy. Shariah Shackelford.
We in here.
Valencia Sims. Elise Simmons. Atara Lee. Laerio Hunley and all her cords, y'all. Janiyah Gresham, congratulations. Ariel Jones. Shidesha McLean. Trelina Smith. Kiana Corbin. Selena Brown. Jayla Harris. Devin Martin. Alexandria Thomas. Shania Williams. We just have to recognize some other additional students, and they're going to stand. President Knight, can you stay a little longer? Or we can go. You can stay. So, congratulations to all of our scholars. If you would give them a hand. We also need to recognize that we have a wonderful honors curriculum program that is directed by Dr. Emmanuel Chekwa. So all of the students that are part of the honors curriculum, would you please stand and be recognized? And please give them a round of applause. The honors curriculum students are participating in a rigorous course of study, and we're very proud of all their work. We also are going to honor the students by asking them to stand. If you see your name printed in the program for cohort tracking for fall 2016, that means students that came in 2016, they are on track to graduate within 4 years. Please, if your name is listed under the fall 2016 cohort tracking, please stand. Fall 26, congratulations. Fall 2017, please stand. If your name is listed under fall 2017 cohort tracking, please stand. Fall 2018 and fall 2019, please stand. These are students that started with the college and are on track to graduate within 4 years. And then finally, I would like to recognize students that are part of our Center of Academic Excellence. We have had many students who have graduated because this would have been the ceremony for last year, so some students are not present with us today, but I believe that Alexis French is here with us today. Did I see Alexis? Well, we'll still, in absentia, will we please clap for the students that are part of the Center for Academic Excellence program. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our academic units. Our chairs for business and accounting is Dr. Mohita Nan. Dr. Bala Baptiste for communications, Dr. Anthony Green for education, Mikkel Jones for humanities, Dr. Charles Woods for natural science and mathematics, Division of Social and Behavioral Sciences, Dr. Alan Farr, the Social Work Department Director Erica Williams, Fundamental Studies, Dr. Gloria Hayes, Online Education, Dr. Vidal Adanovo. The director of our QEP initiative is Dr. Antonia Adanovo, and the Dean of General Education is Dr. Yvette Richardson. And I want to also thank all of the honors committee that put this program together. We're very honored and proud of all the work that you've done. For all of the students who were not able to participate in person, we will make sure that you get a program and that you get your cords, and that we will make sure that we continue to honor you. And these cords will be the cords they will also wear at graduation, where they will honor them again. Thank you, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a selection from the choir. Dr. Rice, would you join me? Dr. Agee, thank you and your team for putting on a beautiful program. We know that because of COVID, we couldn't have everybody in here at the same time, so we appreciate those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, that you continue to watch and celebrate these young people and their accomplishments. I spoke at Kentucky State's Academic Honor Society, a convocation on Tuesday in Kentucky, and they had fewer people in the room than this, but it was also primarily virtual. And one of the things that I said to those students was that they pushed forward in spite of everything that has happened over the past year, and actually a little over a year. You pushed forward, and I'm so very proud of you. And I know that your parents and your families are proud of you. And a special shout out to Big Cam, because he told me he was gonna do this and he was gonna make it happen. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our, we're going on the alma mater. The choir will sing the alma mater, then we will have the benediction and then the reception.
Please be seated to receive this blessing. Lord, we thank you for what our eyes have seen and our ears have heard. We thank you for stirring our hearts with a profound message. It is my prayer for you that God will bless you. It is my prayer for you that God will keep you. It is my prayer for you that God will wrap his loving arms of protection around you and protect you from all harm and danger. Go forth now in peace, and may the peace of God go with you. peace of God be with all of you. As we prepare now, choir, we please be seated, that the president entourage may leave the podium.